Good afternoon, dear listeners. From the radio channel of High School Costa del Sol in Torremolinos, our program Heritage, Artistic and Cultural Heritage begins today, and we are going to interview Carlos Heredia, a student from our Santa, who is the last of a great family tradition of basketry handcrafting.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to your program.
Carlos, you are currently learning a family tradition, and we are surprised someone your age is interested in the traditional handcrafting of this region. Where does this interest in basketry come from?
Well, it's tradition in my family from more than 100 years ago that the elders showed the new generation this handcraft which has fallen almost in disuse. And I like to contribute to keep a tradition alive. I also like working with my hands and create with a tool, something which did not exist before.
Tell us about basketry. What does it consist of?
Basketry is a manufacturing process consisting of weaving strips of fibers of vegetal origin, like wicker, reed, or paper, resulting in a visual like a basket, hamper, or other objects. Nowadays, animal fibers, or even synthetic fibers, like plastic or metal alloys, are used for fabrics. However, these were traditionally weaved from vegetal fibers, always handcrafted, one of the few activities which has become.
And what is the term for people who do this job?
People who do this job are called canasteros or cesteros, which mean basketers or hamperers.
Are there different types of basketry?
Yes, basketry can be classified into three types. The arrollado, the raw one, in which the material is placed in a spiral shape with over a pipette. Volutus are spirals which are sewn. The trenzado, the braided one, in which three wider strips from plants are alternative cross-weaved. And the entrelazado, the intertwined one, referring to the mix of the former types, which makes the basket be more compact.
When does basketry date from, Carlos?
It is one of the most ancient arts of humanity. There is evidence of the existence of baskets found in Egypt dating back to more than 10,000 years ago.
And in Spain, when does this type of handcraft appear?
It seems that basketry in Spain is associated to the arrival of the gypsy community to mainland Spain in the 16th century. My family is gypsy, and they have been handcrafting basket and hampers for more than 100 years.
Do you think basketry is something old-fashioned?
It may sound local, old-fashioned for young people to hear about basketry, and it is, however, an art which is still present in our lives, never out of fashion. Girls wear handbags made this way. Locals use basket to collect pines or mushrooms. Parents buy this basket to help their children tidy their toys, and even Christmas baskets are that baskets. Straw hats, also made with this technique, are typical in town fairs and music festivals. So no, the basket is not something old-fashioned.
Carlos, how old were you when you started to learn basketry?
I started very young. When I was 7 years old, I already helped my grandparents to cut canes and prepare the material that they later used to weave the baskets. I made my first basket when I was 10.
Where does your family sell the baskets?
My family sells baskets and hampers in tourist places and handcrafting markets. My grandparents make 4 baskets a day every day, and sometimes they also make hats, trays, and other objects. They make them with canes or straw because they are easier to find than wicker. Sometimes they receive orders of 30 or 40 baskets, and we all have to help.
So, what is the job each of you does?
In the basket making process, a big part of the family is involved. Some peel, open canes, and others make or finish of pieces. The practice is very important to do it well and faster.
It is very interesting everything that you have to tell us. Carlos, now we know a bit more about this handcrafting tradition, and we hope it does not disappear thanks to people like you, who keep it alive. Will you teach your children this tradition someday?
Yes, I don't want it to fall in dishes, and I think it is beautiful to teach new generations something this ancient.
Many thanks for your time, Carlos, and for being with us today in the program.
Thank you. And now, when you are given a straw-made hat in some fair or music festival you attend, you will know that you are wearing an arch of 1,000 years of history on our head.
Of course, thanks again, Carlos. And here is in the end of today's program debut to keep our artistic and cultural heritage alive. We'll be back next week, dear listeners.